Welcome to the Toronto Landmark Story Series, brought to you by freeconference.com and Dundurn Press. We hope you enjoy your experience as you settle in and listen to the passage Humber Bay from Toronto Lost Villages, written and narrated by Ron Brown.
The protection offered by the mouth of the Humber River and the presence of a toll ferry over the river provided the impetus for the development of the little port of Humber Bay. As with toll booths on Ontario's early roads, the need for travelers to stop, in this case to wait for the ferry, led to the building of taverns at this location. In 1803, ferryman Donald Cameron was shuttling travelers across the Humber at 6 cents per person, or 16 cents per carriage and 2 horses. He was succeeded in 1815 by another Scotsman named McLean, who converted his dwelling into a pub, then the only stopping place between York and the Credit River. And so started Humber Bay on its way to becoming one of the more popular watering spots west of Toronto. After McLean perished in a snowstorm in 1834, his widow, Mother McLean, she was called, operated the tavern until her death at 94. McLean's buildings were subsequently demolished to make room for the tracks of the Great Western Railway. Humber Bay became a busy little port. In 1840, William Gamble erected a grist mill upstream on the Humber and barged his grain and barley down to the extensive wharves at its mouth. Steamships also docked here, disgorging both passengers and mail. Then the European markets to which Gamble shipped his product collapsed, and the banks foreclosed on his operations. However, the demise of Gamble's wharves did not mean the end of the port. Because of the many had stretched along Dundas Street, the lakeshore gradually became the busier of the two. After the ferry gave way to a crude log bridge in 1824, Humber Bay accumulated a notorious collection of taverns and inns. Devon's Restaurant and its second-floor dance hall became a popular destination for York's sporting crowds. John McDowell had a tavern in 1852, and 3 more appeared in the 1860s and 70s. The Royal Oak was noted for an oak tree growing through its veranda, its well-equipped reading room, and its popular banquet hall. Charles Nurse operated a hotel along with his boatworks. Beside it, he added a fish pond and bicycle path. But likely, the best known of the lot was John Duck's Tavern. Located to the west of Nurse's Hotel, Duck's Wimbledon House provided an extensive pleasure ground with specimens of bears, ducks, and raccoons on exhibit. Travelers could arrive by train or on steamers, like the Canadian, which operated from the wharf at the foot of Spadina Avenue, or could tie up their own boats at the private wharf. His open-air ox roasts, complete with music, were wildly popular, and often ended in drunken brawls. A streetcar service developed along Lakeshore Road, and as new communities, such as the railway town of New Toronto, brought more development on the lakeshore, Humber Bay was soon just another suburb of sprawling Toronto, although it remained a part of the township, later the city of Etobicoke. The area's role as a sporting locale expanded in the 1920s, with the start of the Sunnyside Palace Pier project, a $125 million scheme which would have seen the building of a 550-meter pier, an auditorium, and a dance hall. Although severely reduced in scale by the Depression, the Palace Pier opened in 1941 and hosted such international dance bands as Les Brown, the Dorsey Brothers, and Duke Ellington. In 1963, the dance hall was destroyed by fire. The site is occupied today by the Palace Pier and Palace Place condominium towers. Between the tall buildings and the lake, a single stone block with historic images is the sole visible legacy of this establishment. Increasing auto tourism after the opening of the Hamilton Highway brought a strip of roadside motels east of the Humber. These were a main form of accommodation until more modern hotels arrived on the scene. As the motel era faded, the properties lost their luster and turned into a shady destinations of dubious repute. Gradually, they were replaced by condominium towers, the last of the motels being felled in 2018.
We hope you enjoyed learning about Humber Bay. To find Ron Brown's Toronto Lost Villages, visit dundurn.com or your nearest bookstore. Thank you.